Hello everyone, how are you all doing? I do hope that you are well. Welcome back to my channel and to another video. And today is actually the 2-year anniversary of when I first started working for Disney Cruise Line. It's the anniversary of my Traditions Day. So I thought, what better way to commemorate that and working for Disney Cruise Line for 2 years than to do a Disney Cruise Line tag. Now this is going to be a bit of a twist though, because it's going to be like a crew edition. I know there's Disney Cruise Line tags out there on YouTube already, but a lot of those things don't really apply to crew members, or that you can't really relate to them as a crew member. So I thought I would do my own version, and if you feel like doing it, if you're a crew member currently or a past crew member, you're more than welcome to do that as well. I'm going to leave the questions down below for you. Thought it would be a really good idea to answer them for you, and to celebrate 2 years of working for Cruise Line. So yay! So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the video. So the first question I have written down is, when did you start working for Disney Cruise Line? And like I just said, it's my 2-year anniversary today, which is currently the 28th of June. And I did my traditions on the 28th of June, and then I actually embarked on the 30th of June in 2018. So yeah, 2 years ago today, I became part of the Disney Cruise Line family, and I got my name tag for the first time. I'm not wearing it, I don't know why I just pointed it there. I guess this is my name tag for today. The next question I have is, what is your home ship? The Disney Fantasy is my home ship. If you don't know what that means, basically when you first start off with Disney Cruise Line, you'll get sent to one specific ship, and that is the ship that you'll always end up back at some point. So say if you transfer ships and for some reason they need you to move back to your home ship, they'll always send you back to the ship that you started off on. And yeah, I've always worked there, which actually leads on to the next question, which is, have you worked on any other ships across the fleet? I have not. Like I just said, I've only ever worked on the Disney Fantasy. I'm pretty happy on the Fantasy. I'm comfortable there. I like the people that I work with. I like the ports that we go to. They can be a bit repetitive, but you know, you make of it what you will. You know, I know the spaces very well. I know a lot of the people around the ship, and yeah, like I said, I'm comfortable there. Would I want to go to another ship? Probably at some point. I might have wanted to go to the Disney Magic when they go in their Europe season around Europe. That would have been pretty cool, just because it would have been nice being closer to home and seeing all of the places around Europe that I've not been able to go to. I've been to some places in Europe, obviously, because that's where I'm from, but it would be nice to go to a lot of the places that they go to. And in my role, anyway, we get to go on the port adventures with the guests, so that would be really cool, getting to do that. But I'm pretty happy on the Fantasy. So yeah, that's where I've been the longest, and that's where I'm happy right now. But yeah. The next question is, what is your role? My role, or if you don't know the Disney lingo, a role is basically your job. We just call it a role because Disney is a whole, everything about Disney is a show. So your job is your role within the show. My role on the ship is working with the kids as a youth activities counsellor. So I work primarily with the 3 to 12-year-old. That's where you'll start when you first go on board as the youth activities counsellor. We also work with 11 to 14-year-olds in our Edge tween space, and then we work with teenagers as well in the Vibe space, which is for 14 to 17-year-olds. You can get put there on a normal day-to-day basis, but you can also get put there permanently. And work there as an Edge or Vibe counsellor. We also hire in nursery counsellors. They work in, I don't know if it's called this on other ships, but on my ship we call it It's a Small World nursery, and they work with babies up to about 3 years old, which we can also work in occasionally, but we don't work there permanently. But yeah, I've primarily just worked in the Oceania Club and the Oceania Lab, which is our 3 to 12-year-old space, but we can also go to other spaces as well. And I've worked in Edge, actually. I worked in Edge a couple months last contract. No, in my 3rd contract, which was back in the summer of last year into September, October time. So yeah, that was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed that. And I do really enjoy my job. I love working with the kids. It's really, really nice getting to see the magic from their perspective and to, you know, feel the Disney magic in that way. It's so cheesy. Somebody once said to me that we have a really important job because we work with the ship's most precious cargo, the kids, which is very cheesy, but you know, I think it's a nice sentiment, and I understand where they're coming from. You know, we do work with the littlest of cruisers, and we get to experience the ship from their eyes and their excitement that they have for being on a Disney cruise and meeting friends and doing all these really fun activities and getting to see Disney characters everywhere. It's just seeing Disney through a kid's eyes and seeing the magic that they see and experience is a really special thing to get to be part of. So the next question I have is, have you been in any other roles? So I know sometimes people transfer departments into different roles. You have to work in your role for a certain period of time before you can go on to another one. But I have not worked in any other roles. I've only ever been a youth activities counsellor. I don't know if there would be any other role that I'd want to go to, really. I'm really happy in the one that I I still have it, but it's not there currently. I'm supposed to be, but I'm not. I really like working with the kids, and I like working with my team. And yeah, it's really fun. We have a great time. You know, we basically get paid to play with the kids all the time. And, you know, do fun activities with them and see Disney characters all the time and all that fun stuff. It's long hours. It's not as long as some people, so I shouldn't complain too much, but, you know, we work with kids 7 days a week, up to about 11 hours a day, so it can get a lot, and it does get a lot, especially when we have more difficult cruises with guests or kids or whatever. But you know, it's still very rewarding at the end of the day. We get to work with a really nice age group a lot of the time, and yeah, they really look up to you when you're working with them, and they love hanging out with you if you have a special bond with a certain kid or a couple of kids. And yeah, they'll remember you as the person that made their crew so special, and they'll talk about you in years to come, and you know, they'll just really appreciate the time that they had with you. And I think that's very rewarding as a job to have, as it probably is with any other jobs that are on cruise line or with Disney. They're all unique and special in their own way, and you all contribute to working and making the magic for people. So yeah, but I really enjoy my role, and I don't think I would move departments. The next question I have is, what's your favourite port? Now on the Fantasy, on a normal cruise, we have a 7-day cruise, which either goes to Cozumel, Grand Cayman, Falmouth in Jamaica, and then Castaway Cay 1 week, and then the week after it alternates to St. Thomas and Tortola in the Virgin Islands, and then we go to Castaway Cay. On those cruises, I really like Cozumel in Mexico, just because, I don't know, you could do so much there. And Mexico is a lovely place. I've always wanted to go. It's a really nice port, actually. There's so much to do. I really like going to get food there with my friends, but then you can also go further afield. Some people like to rent like bikes or cars and drive around. There's a place that's on the other side of where we dock, where Carnival Cruises dock. It's called Paradise Beach. Oh, it's beautiful. It's so much to do there. You can do different activities, and you can go in the water, and you can eat really great food, and it's not that expensive, really. And yeah, it's great. I love going there. I've been there a couple times. And then you can also do the dolphin experience that they have in Mexico, not too far into the port. And there's also, there's a Mega there, which is a cheap store. It's kind of like Walmart or something, where they have a lot of food and clothes, and you can buy your snacks at quite cheap prices there to bring back onto the ship with you. So that's right there by the port. If we're talking about cruises that are more special cruises, I really like San Juan in Puerto Rico. It's a beautiful port. I love the history and the culture there. The buildings are beautiful, like it's very bright and colourful. The old part is amazing. I've not been to the new part, and I know people like it as well because they can go to the mall that's not that far away, and there's a lot of big stores there, like American stores that they like to go to, and there's a cheesecake factory there they go to. I've never been there. I've only ever stayed in port in the old town. And yeah, if there's a port that I would ever want to visit if I wasn't on a cruise and I would choose to holiday there, it would probably be San Juan, just because I'd love to explore it more and get lost in the streets and just explore that country a bit more, because I really love it there. So the next question I have is, have you worked any special events or holidays whilst working for cruise line? Now, I've basically worked every single holiday or event that there could be on the Disney Fantasy. So like I said, I started in June 2000 and 18, and my first week on board was actually going to be 4th of July, so I've worked 2 4th of Julys, and then there was Halloween on the high seas, that starts in September on the Disney Cruise Line ships, so I worked 2 of those as well. I've worked 1 Halloween, my first Halloween I actually went home just before it. I've not worked Thanksgiving ever, I've always been at home for that. I've worked 2 Christmases, 2 New Year's, 2 Star Wars Day at Seas. I've worked during Valentine's Day 2 years in a row. I've worked for St. David's Day, which is the patron saint day of Wales. Nobody ever cares about that, but I enjoy it, and that is quite important to me. So that's on the 1st of March. And then in between that is my birthday, and then it's St. Patrick's Day, which everybody loves. And then I've also worked during the summer last year where we had Minnie and Mickey's surprise day at sea randomly for their 90th birthday anniversary. But we had that on the Fantasy. It was great. Out of all of those, my favourite is definitely Star Wars Day at Sea. It's just so much fun, and it's so different. It's nice to have something to do on a sea day. It's on a Thursday, which usually is our sea day that we have in between going to different ports and then going to Castaway Cay and travelling there. But yeah, it's so much fun. There's so much to do. There's so much different things to do. Like in the kids' spaces, there's a lot of different activities that are running that are specific to just Star Wars Day. There's a lot of really cool characters walking around. The shows that they do are really good. Some really cool activities around the ship for that. And it's amazing getting to see the guests walking around in Disney costumes, not Disney costumes, in Star Wars costumes, and it's a really awesome atmosphere. And yeah, people pay a lot of money to go on those kind of cruises, and I love making that special for people who love Star Wars. And as a counsellor for youth activities, we get to do something so cool called the Jedi Trials of the Temple, which is basically exactly the same kind of thing as they do in Disney World and Disneyland, where they like do a lightsaber duel with Kylo and Darth Vader, and they lower and raise the temple themselves and everything, and they get to hold the lightsabers and do that whole sequence. It's exactly the same sequence as well. But as counsellors, we get to help out, and we get to do that in the Walt Disney Theatre and get to be part of that. That's so cool to see and be part of. And I love doing that. It's so much fun. And it's only once a year, and it's my favourite time of year. I've done it twice, so I love Star Wars Day at Sea. What is your favourite costume that you have ever worn for your role? Now, I don't have a lot of costumes in my role, really. It's just the same yellow and blue. I'll put it here. Costume that we wear all the time. If you work in Vibe, which is the teen space, you get to wear a different costume. You get to wear a shirt, like a stripy shirt with stars on, and then like cargo pant type of things. But we just wear yellow and blue, and then blue trousers, which is not very flattering. You don't look very great in it, but you're not supposed to. You're supposed to be there to work. So we get to wear some various other costumes during like special events, or welcome line, which is where if you've ever been on a Disney cruise, your family gets announced and then you get welcomed onto the ship with people clapping. That is called welcome line, and we get to do that and wear like a white suit. It's very fancy. I'll put that up if I can. But my favourite costume that I have ever worn is very simple. It's black pants, or trousers as we call them in the UK, a black belt, and then a black Star Wars Day at Sea polo shirt, which I'll put up right here on the screen. It's so comfortable. Like, the shirt is ridiculously comfortable. It's nice being able to tuck your shirt in because we're not allowed to do that in my job. And yeah, it's basically the same kind of shirt that they sell in the stores around Star Wars Day at Sea, that are the black like Adidas polos with Star Wars Day at Sea logo. But these ones are just specifically for crew, and they're so stretchy and so comfortable, and you get to wear it all day for Jedi Trials. Well, not all day, you get to wear it for like 3 hours of the day for Jedi Trials. That's the only time we wear it as counsellors. The hosts in YA wear it, and other people around entertainment wear it, but you only wear it for that, and it's great. I love it. It looks so simple, but it's a great costume. I love it a lot. So that's probably my favourite. What is the weirdest job requirement or thing that you've done in your job that you never thought would be part of your job when you first applied, is the next question. So for me, I'm a youth activities counsellor, which you would expect to just be working with the kids. But when we work Castaway Cay, we do a lot of strange roles that you probably wouldn't expect. Like we do a lot of work with the lifeguards, and one of them that we do, 2 YA counsellors and a couple of other people in merchandise and entertainment and housekeeping, I think, do something called Pull Beach, which is where at the end of the day, usually about 3 o'clock, you'll start pulling the beach, which is where you pull down all of the umbrellas, you start straightening up all of the chairs, like the deck chairs and the chairs that you put in front of the deck chairs. You start like taking inflatables or like trash to the kind of front of all of those chairs and just tidying up the beach. And you do a whole sweep of one half of the beach, just like usually for me it's before Pelican Plunge, and then other people do after Pelican Plunge. And then you do that and you go back again. And it's horrible. It's so hot. It's so sweaty. I have like no upper body strength. I have to climb on the chair to get to the umbrellas. And usually chairs are on a slant. So half of the time when I'm climbing, the chairs are like tipping and I'm trying not to fall over. And it's a hot mess. I've only done it twice, but honestly, it's like the worst thing I've ever done. It's horrible. I hated it, but that's one thing that we have to do. There's some things that you see, and I'm like, why is this my job? Why am I doing this? But I guess you have to help out other departments every now and again. You help out crew staff a lot as well, and port adventures. Where's your favourite work location to work? For me, obviously we work in primarily one location, which is in the kids spaces. But like I said at the beginning of the video, we do move around sometimes to different parts of the youth spaces, or we get the opportunity to get moved to a space more permanently. And my favourite space that I've ever worked in is Edge, which is our 11 to 14-year-old space. It's very small. I'll see if I can put a picture up. But yeah, it's really nice. You're very independent up there. But no, you get to have a lot of fun up there. You get to run all your own activities and come up with your own ideas. You get to like bond with the kids a lot more because they're older and they can actually talk to you and hold a conversation with you and remember who you are. And yeah, I loved working up there. I always said that I would never work up there because I never really enjoyed my time up there. When I would just go up there for a couple of hours, I didn't know what I was doing. But then when I cross-trained to work up there, and then when they eventually moved me, I loved it. Have you ever met any celebrities while working for Disney Cruise Line? I have. We had a certain 90s television star who is in the show is a cousin of a certain Fresh Prince. Come and do some like promotional filming, and his kid was he's got like a little 4-year-old or 5-year-old kid who was in our space a lot. And the one time that he did come up and pick up his kid, one counsellor, it wasn't me, they kind of made a big deal of it, so I think the rest of the time he sent his wife. But I saw him walk by when maybe he just dropped his kid off the other end, and I was like, hi sir, how you doing? I didn't like make a big deal of it, but I was like, oh my god, it's so-and-so. It was weird, because like I used to watch him all the time when I was growing up on the TV show. So it's kind of weird being like right there with him, but that was a pretty cool experience. And then other than that, I've met some like Disney kind of celebrities, I guess. I met a writer for Disney who wrote a couple of episodes for Tangled, the TV series, and for Big Hero 6 TV show, and a friend of mine at the time towards the start of the cruise was like, oh, you like Tangled, right? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, oh, there's a guy here that wrote for Tangled the series, and I told him all about you and how much you love Tangled, and I told him to look out for you. And then towards the end, like middle of the cruise, and then at the end of the cruise, I saw him twice. For the first time, he came to pick up his kid up. When he saw me, he looked at my name tag and he was like, oh, you're Harriet. And I'm like, oh, it's the guy. So we were talking about Tangled the series for a couple minutes, and I was geeking out, and everybody was like, are you okay? And I'm like, he wrote for a TV show, for a franchise and a story that I love. And then I also was very fortunate to meet one of my favourite voice actresses who has voiced a very iconic character, a very iconic female character in my favourite movie of all time, Hercules. I was actually with her kids in Marvel room, actually. I was hanging out with them in there, and one of them had a pin of Hercules and Meg. And I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. Like, there's barely any merchandise anywhere with Hercules and Meg. Like, I love your pin. And they're like, oh, thanks. And then we're talking, I think we're playing, like, cards or something. And then they go, oh yeah, by the way, that's our mum. And I was like, what? And I'm like, that's so cool. Your mum is amazing. And then a couple of days later, she was picking up her kid, I think, and I got to help her. And then she stood outside for a bit. But I was just like, oh my god. Oh, and then Star Wars Day at Sea just gone in January. We had the lovely lady who voices Ahsoka Tano in the Clone Wars, I think, and she does it in the Rebels TV show. She was on board doing like promotional stuff. She is also the founder of her universe, I think. Anyway, my boyfriend loves that character. And when we were doing drill DT on Saturday, when you go on an Embark day, you have the whole mandatory guest drill that you have to attend, and you have people that are there helping you like learn how to do the life jackets and everything. And we were seeing people, and he's talking to people about Star Wars Day at Sea because it's our Star Wars cruises. This person goes, "Oh, who's your favourite character?" And he goes, "Oh, it's Ahsoka Tano." And she looks at him and he looks at her and he's like, "Oh my god." And then he comes running over to me like, "It's so-and-so." And I'm like, "That's so cool. I'm so happy for you," because like that's his favourite character and he got to meet the person who voices her. And then she actually came in with her family when I was working the front desk of Star Wars Day at Sea programming in the Oceanic Club. And I think she came to see BB-8 and another show, and it was really cool actually. I was like, I know her. But yeah, that was fun. But those are the only people I've ever encountered. I've not met any big celebrities or anything like that. Not too many people, not too many crazy encounters, just because you have to be very neutral about those kind of things. But that was pretty cool, the people that I did see and that I did get to encounter. This is the second to last question. It's quite a funny one. Have you ever gone to Disney World on a Embark Day morning? For me, that's a Saturday. Yes, I have. I've been a couple times. Mostly to Animal Kingdom or Hollywood Studios, just because, well, the people that I go with, I usually went with my boyfriend and a couple other people. He never wanted to go to Magic Kingdom on a Saturday because he knew it would be crazy busy, and his favourite park is Animal Kingdom, so we went there a couple times. And then we also went to Hollywood Studios twice to go to Galaxy's Edge when it first opened. We managed to get in on the 7th of September when it opened on like the 29th of August in Disney World or something like that, and we got to experience Galaxy's Edge like a week after it opened, and it was great. And then we went again a couple weeks later, and then I've been to Animal Kingdom a couple times with my boyfriend, rode Everest, gone to Ian's the Tuli Canteen, and just had a great time. Those are the only times I've been, but no, it's really fun. You literally have to get up so early in the morning, rush to the parks, spend time either going on a ride or eating food or just enjoying the atmosphere, and then rush back to the ship and then go in your costume and be like, "Woof, I just had a great morning, guys," and they're like, "Oh my god." But no, it's a lot of fun getting to go to be able to do that as well, and having people that you know that have cars, befriend somebody who has a car if you go work for cruise line, because they will be able to get you to places that you really want to go. It's great. And the final question that I have is your favourite memory or a funny story that you have. I've had to think about this, and then I realised my favourite memories are very weird. It's when it gets really rainy and stormy in Castaway Cay, and it's a weird day. And I had one experience like this back last year when I was working at Edge. It was very rocky the night before, and the waves were really big and it was quite windy, and we weren't sure if we were going to dock, and then they realised we were going to dock late. So we didn't end up docking until, I think we were supposed to dock at like 8:30 maybe in the morning, and then we didn't end up docking until 9:30, or maybe it was like we were supposed to dock at 9 and we didn't end up getting there until like 10. I can't remember. But usually when you work with Edge, you work 2 shifts. You can work one of 2 shifts on the island or Castaway Cay. I was working with my fellow counsellor in the morning shift, and what we do in the mornings is we meet the kids at the post office just outside of the ship, and then we take them to Teen Hideout, and then we take them to food, and then the afternoon people take over. But we were on the morning shift, but it was really raining, we were late docking, and we only picked up like 1 kid that morning from the post office, and then we were walking to Teen Hideout, which is the other side of the island, and it starts pouring with rain, and we were close to Intershade, which is like about halfway down the island, maybe past, just before Cookies too, and it was pouring with rain, and we were on the radio to our manager like, "Hey, what do you want us to do?" And he's like, "Just take cover," and we were like, "Okay." So we were in Intershade for like an hour, and we were like, "Hey, do you have any updates on the radio?" to our manager. He's like, I don't know what's happening, just stay there." We ended up with a vibe team as well, because he thought the whole wild side thing that they do, where they do like a couple of excursions on the island, was still going on, and we were like, hey, what do you want us to do with this kid that's not our kid? And they're like, just keep them with you. So then it stopped raining for a bit, and it was nearing lunchtime, so we ended up going for lunch with them. And then it was just a hilarious experience because we were so wet. It was like we were getting drenched, and then obviously we were like, okay, we still have these kids, and they were like, we're gonna go now, it's fine, we'll go find our family or whatever, we'll go back to the ship. And then our manager was like, hey, can you go to Props where all the kids are? There's like not many people left there counsellor wise, can you go help out for a bit? So we were like, we're supposed to be done soon, but okay. So then we had to sit in Props, which is where the kids eat, and it's also where we send them when it's really bad torrential weather, and it's like our kind of safe place because it's undercover. And we had to just sit there while our manager was looking at us like, I'm sorry guys, and figuring out when we could go. And it was a great experience because the kids were loving it. Like, it was wet, and they were playing board games and stuff, and we were just having a great time. And I really liked when it was like that. That happened another time more recently, but yes, everything goes out the window. Like when it pours with rain on Castaway Cay, you know, every other day on Castaway is just your normal average Castaway day. Like, it's the same thing all the time. It's too hot most of the time. But this was so much fun, and that's probably my favourite memory, was constantly being like, hey, what's happening, to our manager, and him being like, I don't know, just keep the kids into shade and just play with them. So we were playing like basketball, and they were playing shuffleboard, we were playing foosball, and I was playing really badly at pool, and then we were playing table tennis, and it was so much fun. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, that is all I have for you today. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you enjoyed kind of hearing more about crew life on Disney Cruise Line. And if you want me to do more videos on Cruise Line, I probably will do that. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and I'll see you again next time with another video. Goodbye.